Hey Aquarius, before we dive into what's coming for you in August 2026, I want to ask you something real quick. When was the last time you felt like the universe was actually listening to you? Not just throwing random chaos your way, but genuinely nudging you towards something bigger. Because August 2026, it's one of those months. And if you're an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, you need to hear this. I'm talking about a total solar eclipse in your opposite sign, Mars shifting into your work sector, and a full moon in Pisces that could completely rewire how you think about money, self-worth, and what you actually deserve. But here's the thing, not all of it is easy. In fact, we're looking at one piece of genuinely good news, and 4 areas where you're going to need to be sharp, grounded, and ready to make some tough calls. So if you're ready to understand what's really going on in the sky, and more importantly, what it means for your life, stay with me. Let's break it down. Now before we get into the transits, I want to take just a moment to tell you something. At Astro Forecast, we don't just do general horoscopes. We do deep readings. The kind where we pull up your actual birth chart, look at where every planet was the moment you were born, and tell you things about yourself that you felt, but maybe never had words for. Whether you're trying to understand why your relationships keep following the same pattern, why your career feels stuck even when you're working hard, or whether the person you're with is actually your soulmate, we can help you see the blueprint. We offer full birth chart readings, relationship compatibility readings, soulmate readings, career readings, life purpose readings, year-ahead forecasts, monthly forecasts, transit readings, solar return readings, business astrology, marriage timing readings, dating pattern analysis, breakup recovery guidance, money and wealth readings, and question-based personal guidance. If any of that speaks to you, and I mean really speaks to you, the link to book a personal session with us is right there in the description box below. We read every message, we take our time, and we don't do cookie-cutter responses. Every reading is tailored to your chart, your story, your moment. All right, with that said, let's get into what August 2026 is really bringing for Aquarius. The good news. Let's start with the good news because honestly, Aquarius, you deserve it. On August 6, 2026, Venus enters Libra, and for you, this is happening in your 9th house of expansion, higher learning, philosophy, and long-distance travel. This is the house of the bigger picture, the house of why are we even here? And Venus in Libra here, it's beautiful energy. Here's what's happening. Libra is Venus's home sign. She rules this place. So she's not just visiting, she's thriving. And because this is your 9th house, you're going to feel a strong pull toward harmony, balance, and beauty in how you see the world. You might suddenly want to pick up a book about a culture you've never explored. You might feel inspired to plan a trip somewhere that speaks to your soul. You might find yourself drawn to people who think differently than you, people who challenge your perspective, not by fighting you, but by showing you a gentler, more philosophical way of looking at things. This transit is about expanding your mind through pleasure, not forcefully, not through grind culture, but through genuine curiosity and aesthetic appreciation. If you've been frustrated with learning something new, or if a teaching situation has been tense, Venus in Libra smooths that over. You might attract a mentor or guide who communicates with grace and diplomacy. Someone who doesn't just dump information on you, but makes the process feel good. And here's the part I love most. This energy encourages you to find joy in the journey, not just the destination. As an Aquarius, you can get so focused on the future, on the vision, on the end goal that you forget to enjoy the steps along the way. Venus in Libra in your 9th house says, slow down, breathe. Let yourself be moved by beauty, by art, by a conversation that shifts something inside you. This is a fantastic time to consume media, literature, or art that broadens your understanding of the world. Watch a foreign film. Read a philosophy book that scares you a little. Have a conversation with someone whose background is completely different from yours. The universe is opening a door here, Aquarius. Walk through it. Bad news number 1. Now, let's talk about the first challenge. On August 9th, 2026, Mercury enters Leo, your seventh house of partnerships, marriage, and one-on-one relationships. And this is where things start to get complicated. Mercury in Leo is dramatic. It's theatrical. It wants to be heard. And in your seventh house, your mental focus shifts intensely toward the dynamics of your closest connections. You might find yourself needing your partner or best friend to intellectually validate your ideas in a way you haven't before. And if they don't, you feel it deeply. Here's the tension. Leo is a fire sign. It's expressive, bold, and sometimes domineering. And Aquarius, you're an air sign. You value intellectual freedom, detachment, and objectivity. When Mercury in Leo hits your relationship sector, there's a clash between your natural tendency to step back and analyze, and this new urge to perform, to be seen, to demand attention in your partnerships. You might catch yourself being more theatrical in conversations with your significant other, more dramatic, more needy for validation. And that's not a bad thing inherently, but if your partner isn't matching that energy, or if they're feeling overwhelmed by your sudden intensity, friction builds. This transit also highlights contracts, verbal agreements, and negotiations. If you've been putting off having a serious conversation about where a relationship is going, Mercury in Leo brings it to the surface. You might find yourself taking the lead in negotiations professionally or personally, and while your ability to articulate your needs is enhanced, you have to balance that with listening. Leo energy can get so caught up in being heard that it forgets to hear. So my advice? Use this energy to clear the air, address lingering misunderstandings, but do it with warmth and quiet confidence, not ego. The people who matter will respond to your sincerity, not your volume. Bad news number 2. Then, just 2 days later, on August 11th, 2026, Mars enters Cancer, your sixth house of daily routine, work environment, health, and habits. And Aquarius, I need you to pay close attention here, because Mars is not comfortable in Cancer. Mars is the planet of action, drive, and aggression. Cancer is the sign of emotion, protection, and nurturing. When these two meet in your sixth house, your work life and physical health become deeply intertwined with your emotional state. You might feel a fiercely protective drive toward the work you do every day, like, this is my work, my routine, my space, and don't you dare criticize it. That sounds strong, but here's the problem. Mars in Cancer's motivation fluctuates based on how you feel. One day you're crushing your to-do list. The next day, you can't get out of bed because something someone said at work hit you harder than you expected. This transit can create unspoken emotional friction with coworkers. Things that would normally roll off your back suddenly feel personal. A passing comment about your work ethic, a slight shift in how your boss looks at you, a teammate taking credit for something, it all lands differently. And because Cancer is a sign that holds on to things, you might find yourself ruminating on workplace slights long after they happen. On the health side, your physical energy becomes directly tied to your emotional well-being. If you're stressed, your body feels it. If you're emotionally drained, your workouts suffer. My advice? Channel any internal frustration into nurturing physical routines, not punishing ones, not, I have to burn off this anxiety by running 10 miles, but comforting movement. Yoga, swimming, a walk in nature, something that soothes your nervous system while still moving your body. And please protect your rest. Mars in Cancer can make you feel like you need to overserve others to prove your worth. You don't. Set boundaries around your time, your energy, and your emotional labor. Not everyone at work deserves access to your emotional world. Now we arrive at the biggest moment of the month. On August 12th, 2026, we have a new moon in Leo that is also a total solar eclipse, and this is happening at approximately 20 degrees Leo, directly in your seventh house of partnerships. This is the second eclipse in the Leo-Aquarius axis. And Aquarius, this one is personal. Solar eclipses are new moons on steroids. They don't just bring new beginnings, They bring fated new beginnings. They interrupt your life, force you to see what you've been avoiding, and reset entire chapters. And because this eclipse is in Leo, your opposite sign, it's shining a massive spotlight on your one-on-one relationships, romantic, business, friendship, all of it. Here's what could happen. You might experience the sudden beginning of a significant relationship, or the necessary evolution or ending of an existing one. This eclipse forces you to redefine what you're willing to accept from others. Toxic dynamics that have been draining your life force, the universe is essentially saying, eclipse them out. Let them go. Make space. You might feel a profound shift in how you balance your independence with the needs of a partner. As an Aquarius, freedom is everything to you. But this eclipse asks, are you so committed to your independence that you're avoiding real intimacy? Or have you been dimming your own light to make someone else comfortable? Both are possible. Both need examination. This is a South Node eclipse, which means it's about release, letting go of old patterns around validation, performance, and pride in relationships. You might realize you've been performing for a partner, being the cool one, the detached one, the logical one, instead of showing up authentically. And that performance is exhausting. This eclipse gives you the courage to stop. There's also a massive identity component here. Leo rules self-expression, creativity, and the spotlight. In your 7th house, it's asking, who are you in relationship? Are you losing yourself? Are you too guarded? Are you attracting partners who mirror your unhealed wounds? This eclipse kicks off a 6-month cycle where partnership themes dominate your personal growth. What begins now will unfold through February 2027. Pay attention to who enters or exits your life around this date. The universe doesn't do coincidences during eclipses. Bad news number 4. Then, as if the eclipse wasn't enough, we move into the latter half of August with some heavy Virgo energy in your 8th house of transformation, shared finances, intimacy, and psychological depth. On August 23, 2026, the Sun enters Virgo. On August 25th, Mercury follows. Virgo is precise, analytical, detail-oriented. And in your 8th house, it's like shining a laser into the darkest corners of your psyche. The Sun in Virgo spotlights hidden psychological layers that need healing. You might feel an intense urge to analyze your own subconscious patterns, why you react the way you do in crisis, why certain fears keep recurring, why you sabotage yourself in specific areas. This isn't comfortable work, Aquarius. This is the stuff we usually avoid. But Virgo says, let's organize this. Let's break it down step by step. Let's heal practically, not just spiritually. On the financial side, Virgo in your 8th house brings order and clarity to joint resources, shared debts, taxes, investments, and financial partnerships. You might feel compelled to meticulously review your financial agreements. Maybe you finally sit down and look at that credit card statement you've been avoiding. Maybe you have a realistic, honest conversation with a partner about money expectations. Virgo doesn't do fantasy, it does facts. And in your 8th house, the facts around shared finances might be sobering, but they're necessary. When Mercury enters Virgo on the 25th, your mental focus sharpens even further. This is incredible energy for solving complex psychological puzzles. You might find yourself obsessing over the small details of a situation until you uncover the complete truth. And while obsession can be destructive, in Virgo, it's productive. You might act as an analytical confidant for someone going through a crisis. Or you might finally understand the root cause of a recurring life cycle that's been haunting you for years. My advice? Use this energy to get your financial house in absolute order. Double-check the fine print on any documents related to your long-term security. Negotiate shared resources using logical, factual arguments. And on the psychological side, be brave enough to look at your shadows. The empowerment you gain from understanding your own root causes is unmatched.